This is Pastor Jim Womer at Capital Baptist Church. Thank you for joining our series, Conversations on Calm Parenting. My guest is Jonah Kabazi. I look forward to hearing what he has to say. Let's get into it. Lesson 4 is how to motivate your kids without crushing their spirit. And so, we've already touched on a little bit this verse, but Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And so a lot of people take that to mean if you teach them to be a Christian, they're always going to be a Christian. But I think another way to look at that is to raise your kid according to the way that God made them. And you've already touched on that. And
Exactly.
God made them a certain way for a
Yep.
certain purpose. And we don't want to frustrate that.
Yep.
We don't want them to be mini-me's. We do, in a way, maybe we want. I like baseball. I want my kids to like baseball. I see the world this way. I want them to see the world the same way as me. Um, but we need to think about how God made them,
Absolutely.
and so how does that look like in your family?
Um, how that looks like in our family, that goes back to looking into yourself, kind of what this whole theme about calm parenting, and it starts with yourself, and seeing what motivates me, and understanding myself, and say now that I know and understand myself, let me understand, my son. Let me understand my daughter. Let me find out what motivates her. What are his or her likes? What are his or her um, dislikes? And to basically to feed into that and help that grow. Talking about myself, I love music. That's my passion. That's how God made me. Now I've African by descent, and in African cultures, um, there's three things that you go to school to be. You go to school to be a doctor, you go to school to be a lawyer, or you go to school to be an engineer. Those are the three jobs that are the accepted, jobs that you'd go to school for. Anything else is, you could be a teacher, you could do something else, but it was frowned upon. The arts weren't really pushed. And my mom was a little bit unique in that she saw that talent in me as a kid, and she nurtured it, but it was sort of as a on the side type thing, but not as in, hey, this kid really likes music. Let's see what we can do to push him to really do music. Oh, you can actually go to college and study music in college, really? So had she and my dad had this type of a mindset, I believe that I would definitely be in a different place than I am now, and not just saying that I'm disappointed in where I am in life, and I'm unhappy or anything like that, but I also want to learn from that experience and make sure that as my daughters are into drawing and calligraphy and this and that I encourage that. Um, I'm grew up also doing a lot of athletics, played basketball and tennis and volleyball and all kinds of stuff growing up as a kid. That's what I love and enjoy. Now would I love and enjoy that my daughters would play basketball? It'd be great if they did, but they don't. They do. They're so. It's almost like, are these even my kids? They got like six left feet. Um, but they're not into that, and it'd be unfair of me as a parent to force them into that because that's what I like. Um, so I need to find what motivates them so that they could grow up to be healthy, mindful citizens and healthy in that they'll enjoy life to what God has created them for to the absolute fullest.
So what do you do to discover what your daughter's gifts and talents are?
Um, just honestly spend time with them, and when they're young, just give them as many things to do, and just throw as much stuff on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And just be observant also. I think of when we talk about Gabby Douglas, and when we talk about her life story, and how she grew up and just started by jumping off of the sofa and doing this and that, and mom says, she's actually into gymnastics. That's looks like, and got her into you know gymnastics. I've got my little one. She's into that type of stuff too. So that's the type of stuff that we're trying to encourage. Now, I'm not a gymnast, but I've started to watch videos. I try to educate myself. I'm like, hey, all right, this is how you do a backflip. Let's try it together. He's like, Daddy, you look kind of weird. That's not a round off, But in doing that together, we're building that relationship. I'm fumbling around. I'm doing stuff that I'm not comfortable with. She's laughing at me. My other daughters are laughing at me. But we're doing it as a family. We're having a great time. But I'm also building into what she likes.
Are there any videos of you doing gymnastics?
Oh, you're not going to see them.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was surprised having kids, even though the boys are young.
Yeah.
Just how their personalities are already showing, and how they already seem to have a bent towards their life and what.
Yeah.
One of my sons is more analytical than the others. One of them is more kind of entertaining. We think he might be more artsy or whatever.
Yeah.
And just
cool.
it's but he's also athletic.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see, and I liked your advice for especially with small kids to just give them lots of different things to try. Not say like I'm this way. It's all I want you to be this way, but to just give them options and to try to give them the opportunity to grow and experiment with
Different
how God
things,
made them. And
absolutely.
so one thing I want to touch on that's difficult is when you need to repair your relationship. And some people out there have made mistakes with their children. Sometimes it's a small repair, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I was neglectful for a while, a season, busy or something like that, and I have to come back and maybe that's a little bit easier. Sometimes it's a longer term issue. So how do you feel about the idea of apologizing to your kids?
Oh man, I've and that's actually very very good because that is one of the ways that you can actually help repair and build when we talk about building relationships and building that credibility. There have been times where I've had to come to my daughter and say, hey, guys, I got upset with you guys about this. I was wrong. I apologize. Or I have we have a rule in our home. We don't react in anger, and granted, what you did was not right, but the way I reacted and I reacted in anger was not right. For that, I do apologize. Forgive Daddy for getting angry, and forgive Daddy for raising his voice. Forgive Daddy for breaking the rules that he put down. When I joke about this, but when I was a kid growing up, we had two rules in our house. Rule number 1, Daddy's always right. Rule number 2, when in doubt, rule number 1 applies. So that's the type of household I grew up in. But I also, and as much as I want my daughters to honor my authority as their father, but I also want them to be able to come to me and talk to me when they have questions or when they have a disagreement or they might not necessarily see things the same way that I do. I'm not saying I don't advocate anarchy and I don't advocate folks to children to just absolutely go bananas and say whatever, but at the same time I think we still need to be able to be open to talk to them.
Yeah, I think that's I really appreciate what you said. I mean I had to apologize this week because and often we don't see things and our wives tell us, point things out to us. And
they'll pick out that log.
Well,
they're like, where's that log? Let me pull it out your eye.
Don't get me in trouble. So, anyway, I the kids said, "Hey, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," and I guess I kind of brushed past them. And she said, you deflated them. They were excited to see you, and so I went back and apologized to them. And the reason why I did that is kind of what you said, that you want your kids to be able to come to you. And it's like the parable of the prodigal son in Luke 15. where that father did nothing wrong. This is a different topic. He didn't have to apologize, but the son actually had to apologize.
Yeah.
For what he had done. He had said, give me my money, let me go.
Yeah.
But, I think it's a valuable point that the son knew that when he reached to the end of himself,
yeah.
he knew the quality of the father, that he was able to go back to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important that as we've talked about the way we treat our children, we model God to our children.
Yep.
And just how important that is, that when we mess up and we ask for forgiveness, we're teaching our children how to go to God and ask for forgiveness. And we're also modeling to them that when they mess up, how to come and ask for forgiveness for us. And so when we have a forgiving atmosphere in our home, and when we forgive our children quickly and without eagerly and without holding it over their head, you're really modeling to them the love that God the Father has for them as well. And I just again I just respect you and how you love your daughters and how you've modeled that to them. So
grace of God, only the grace of God, because we're a product of our environment. We're a product of how we were raised, and my parents did some really good things, and there's some things that my parents did in raising me that even to today I just kind of just shake my head. But if not for the grace of God, and God seeing you through, I would be a totally different person.
Well, I appreciate your friendship and your perspective.
Amen. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on Conversations of Calm Parenting.
Thanks for having me. Some of the discussions are tough, but it's an honor to be here.
Thank you for joining our discussion today. I hope it was a blessing. For more information about our church or to connect with our online campus, please join us at capitalbaptist.org.